republic for which it stands.
One nation, under God.
Indivisible.
With liberty and justice for all.
Guns, self-defense, concealed carry. This is the Patriot Defense Podcast. From the war room in Idaho's high desert, here's your host, Todd Echols.
And we are back once again. It is Wednesday afternoon, and we are tucked away in the war room somewhere in the high desert of southern Idaho. And we are back with the midweek podcast. I don't know if that's what I'm going to call this. Just another
Hump
podcast.
Day.
Hump Day. Yeah, I like that. I started since we talked about my intro last podcast. Like I did a Patreon a podcast yesterday. So if you'll hear that if you're a Patreon member, go over and check it out. But I'm overthinking the intro now, and I had to redo it like twice yesterday because we talked about it. And now I'm focusing on it. If I don't focus on it, it just flows.
Yeah.
Start focusing on it, and I didn't know where the hell I was and what desert I was in yesterday.
Yeah.
When I tried to do this, so I had to like redo it. Like I almost stuttered up on this one too. It's not good. It's not good at all. So, what have you been up to since we saw you on Sunday? Have you anything or just honeydews?
Yeah, honeydews.
Ooh, don't tell my wife you're doing honeydews because I haven't done mine.
Don't tell my wife that I'm supposed to be doing that. Not much.
Yeah, well, it's only 2 days. So what are you going to do in 2 days, right? It's cold out. You know, we got through our 50 degrees and now we're back to the freaking cold. And now it's just like depressing me. And like a week ago, and I know it was early, I wasn't going to start it so no one jump all over me. But I'm like, okay, I got to get the lawnmower fixed. I mean, it's 50 degrees out.
Yeah.
I got to fix the lawn. You started pruning trees.
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
I'm like, it's time to clean the garden up. I mean, I was like getting ready. And now it's like I wake up and I go running in the morning and it's like 12 degrees out and I'm getting the thick gloves out. I mean, like I said, a week ago, I was wearing too many layers to run. Like I was ready to go to shorts and a t-shirt.
Yeah.
And now it's just horrible.
Yeah.
It's just horrible. My wife just looks at me like I'm nuts. She goes, yeah, well, you know, we still are in winter, right? I'm like, yeah, for like another 2.5 months, probably. It sucks.
It was that little tease because, I was even looking at possibly doing some fence work and stuff. And then, this happened. And it's like,
oh, yeah.
I'm not doing it.
And I'm the kind of guy that I can't sit down and not really, I mean, I can be home all day. Don't get me wrong. But I can't just like not do anything. Like I have people say that they can just watch, I binge on Netflix. I binge. No, I'm good for like 20 minutes. And then I have to get up and wander around for a while before I come back to the TV.
Yeah.
I mean, that's why like the shows I watch, even on stuff I watch on YouTube, they're like 20-minute shows, right? Yeah. I mean, it's like the shorter, the better for me. And I wander around. I'm like, okay, so we burn our garbage and I'm wandering around going, is there something around here I could just set on fire? I mean, you know, just so I can take the walk to the other end of the property. I mean, it's just freaking miserable. My wife's, meanwhile, she's thinking, well, you know, there's some home improvement items in the garage that need to get applied to the inside of our house. Why aren't you doing that? Yeah, that's boring.
I'd rather burn something.
I'd rather go outside. I am one of those guys. And it's as far from a gun podcast topic, but I'm one of those guys. I would rather do stuff outside. Yeah. I'm not. I can do stuff on the inside, but I would rather not. I'd rather be outside doing something. But this kind of leads me into more of a gun topic here, firearms topic. I was actually looking at my range the other day, and every year I've got to replace a little bit of dirt, right? It gets, erodes and then you shoot into it and you get these great big, you saw the big divots out there. It's like, I need to add some dirt. Well, I got a pile of dirt out here. It's not real big, but it would be enough. And I was like, I don't have any way to like move that dirt. And I know Bathroom Paul, he's been on the podcast before. He helped me out last year, I believe, or a year before. I can't remember. He borrowed a skid loader, like a skid steer. Right. And it worked okay. It doesn't have, my problem with my range is it's hard to get to the berm. that we shoot into, because I can't really go around the. In fact, I might be able to. I should ask the guy, but it's really hard to get around back to the far side of it because I have to drive on property that is not mine. So you got to go down in the range, and if you go down in the range, you drop so low. You got to have something that's got a big reach to it.
Oh yeah.
And then you start looking at like how big of equipment can I get in there? It's not that big of a range.
Yeah.
And I can clear out the targets and I can clear out the tables, but it's it's like like a backhoe. A backhoe would be okay.
Yeah.
I think the big bucket, the loader bucket would be enough to get it up in there. Worst case scenario, you just use the backhoe scoop, right? And I'm not an operator. I don't do any of that stuff. So then I have to find someone to do that. So it's just one of those things where I was looking, I don't have that equipment. And I was like, well, I got some time on my hands. I've got a freaking wheelbarrow and a shovel that if I had to, I would fill in all those divots with a wheelbarrow and a shovel. It'd take me a while, but I mean, I got plenty of time to get it done. But I put out the call on Facebook, offered up a little bit of a trade possibly for some range time, some classes. And I had someone get a hold of me, and he's out of town, but when he gets back, I think I'm going to talk to him, and I'm going to haul some of my dirt over there and kind of, it's time to kind of redo the berms a little bit. And I might actually, it seems like every year I make a little, kind of like remodel the range a little bit. So I think, and I'll have to take you out afterwards to show you, but I think I'm going to extend the berm. Where we walk down into the range and, back by the building. Anyone who's been out here will know what I'm talking about. I think I'm going to put the entrance back by the building, and I'm going to continue the berm on this side all the way to the end. And not that I'd necessarily be shooting directly at the new berm, but it offers a little more protection. Might let a little less snow blow into it, might be a little bit more protected from the wind and even possibly sun a little bit, or it's just going to hold the heat in more, one of the two. But the gentleman who I'm having come over and do this actually has access to a dump truck, a loader, a bunch of dirt. So we'll see what kind of trade I can get worked up with him, but I'm kind of looking forward to it.
Yeah.
I built the range and I had good intentions, and it's worked out. And like I said, every year I change it a little bit more. And a little bit more, and a little bit more. So we'll see what happens. Right. Unless you want, if that doesn't work out, you want to come over with a shovel.
I could use the workout.
Yeah, that would suck though. that would really suck.
I've been through worse.
Yeah. I'm sure you have. So that was small talk about the range. That worked out pretty well.
Remodeling
the range. So getting pretty excited because next week I believe starts all the women's group classes, the academies and the men's academy, and so I've got the women's the women's, I have the beginners and the other one, the other group. What do I call that thing?
Is it intermediate?
Advanced.
Advanced. There you go.
Women's advanced. I don't even know what I'm teaching. I've got the advanced academy. Those ladies have been, a lot of them have been through this before. Well, they all have, right? So they kind of know what to expect. But I've got a brand new group of beginners, which is pretty awesome because they'll get to experience all this for the first time. And then I got the men's group is going to be, it's all new. And so they get to go through this all at the, for the first time as well, which is kind of cool.
Did you get that sign up from the guy from last year that you mentioned?
I did not, and I don't want to give him a hard time. But stuff happens. I mean, dude's got a family, right?
Yeah.
He may be way behind on the podcast. So he may hear this like in June. I'm not the kind of guy to like text him and say, "Hey, dude, I haven't seen your money come through." I'm not going to put you one. I mean, that's cool. If you can do it, great. If you can't, I mean, I understand. Eggs are like $98 a dozen now, so I mean, I get that money's. And this guy'd be driving from Burley.
Oh yeah.
So Burke is dedicated. Burke is very dedicated. He's my range electrician.
Oh, okay, nice.
So maybe I need to work out some kind of trade with Burke. That might be good. I'm all about wheeling and dealing here.
Yeah.
but I don't need any eggs. I got plenty of those. So, and I actually took a phone call this week, and something I've done in the past, and I'm kind of looking forward to doing it again because I don't get called to do it every day, is I am going to go to a local business, and I'm going to help them put together. I'm going to go to one of their like weekly meetings and that they have with all their employees and all their staff, and we're going to go through like an active shooter type training.
Okay.
And I'm going to look at their facility, look at their building. You know, what do you guys have in place right now? First of all, what prompted this? Because it's always good to know, right?
Yeah.
And what prompted this? And, let's look at your facility. Let's look at your building. This is what you can do. Do you have a plan in place? Does anyone carry a gun? Does anyone do this? Does anyone do that? And kind of just talk with them about it. And it's kind of a fun.
Yeah.
It's a different class to do. And so I love all my classes, but sometimes it's a little outside the box from what I usually do. So when I get a chance to do it, it's fantastic. I've actually done this class before at a school, out in a little tiny one-room schoolhouse. So maybe you'll see it this year because I think you're going to talk you into going on some off-road trips with us.
Okay.
But out in Three Creek. So I don't know. It's kind of a fun class to put together and do. So,
and are the employees participating, or is it more so just going around?
It's all the staff.
Strategic.
It's part of their staff meeting.
Okay, nice.
So yeah, and they said there'd be like 20 or 30 people there.
Nice.
So yeah, I'm kind of looking forward to that. That'll be kind of fun. Let's just sit down and I gotta get a few more questions answered because what's kind of interesting is every time I do an active shooter type thing, you have your basic stuff, but then it's like based on the facility, based on the building. What exits do you have? Do you keep everything locked? Is the front one unlocked? What are you guys' ideas? What are your plans so far? Before you called me, what would your plan have been? Did you have one?
Yeah.
Have you talked to law enforcement about this? If you develop a plan, you should probably tell law enforcement, maybe give them an idea of kind of what's going on as well. So when they arrive, I mean, as being an officer, right? That at one point, not now.
Yeah.
I mean, that would make sense, right?
Yes.
So there's not confusion.
Yes, the difficult part would be the different shifts within law enforcement. The message doesn't always
translate.
Yeah, translate, or everyone's not always in the know. But yeah, it's definitely better than nothing.
Right. So anyhow, that's my plan going forward. That's what I got new on my agenda. And I want to say this. I think we will be going live this weekend on the podcast. If I can get it set up, because I am no longer banned for live videos on Facebook. I think we are going to live stream to YouTube and Facebook, the Patriot Defense Facebook page, simultaneously. If everything works out like it should. We're not doing the call-ins, but you guys can definitely be able to comment. And so hopefully it'll go smoothly. I've been looking, and there's not really a way to test this. I mean, how do you test a live video, right? I mean, I'm going to look on the program, on the service that I'm using and see if there's a way to test it. But it might just be get it set up and go, and I hope this works. Click and see what happens. So that's kind of how I live my life.
Yeah, that's going to work out perfect for my schedule. I got my facelift scheduled for Friday.
Sweet,
and that gives
awesome.
me a couple days to drop down to 6% body fat. So
perfect. You better. We're going to run in the morning. You better run fast. Not that you're out of shape by any means.
But yeah, I got time to look better for the live feed.
Well, I know, and you're looking at me right now. I was like, yeah, I usually put on like a Patriot Defense, hoodie. I tried it. I probably look at this. I need a haircut. I mean, I've got a face for. I've got a face for podcasts. I got a face for radio. We'll just leave it at that. So hopefully that'll go well. So if you have not went and found the YouTube channel, go ahead and find it. Subscribe. You can hit that little bell. It'll notify you whenever we go live or put up a new video. And you can do the same thing on Facebook. You can go to the Patriot Defense Facebook page. You can like it. You can follow that. I'm sure if you're listening, you already have. But if you click, I think there's some kind of like live bell or live reminder on there. You can click and it should notify you. And if you go to both places, you should be covered, right? And you can check it out anywhere. So that'll be fun. I look forward to getting back to that. We've had a lot of fun times in the past with comments coming in, and it's fun. The one bad thing is you got to be really careful what you say because there's no editing at that point.
Yeah.
There is no editing. And the last time I was doing lives on Facebook, I got kicked off. So, someone turned us in.
Oh.
We didn't even have guns. We were just talking about firearms, and they banned us. Said it went against community standard. Bastards.
Zuckerberg bots.
Yeah, something. I didn't do this last time because I don't know. I was so pissed off I didn't even think about it. But if they do that again, I'm pilling that shit. Try to. We'll see what happens. But anyhow, keep an eye out for that. But we have got all kinds of stuff in the news this week, right? Same old stuff. We know that there was 2 shootings in California. Well, they say that there's 3 now.
Well, there was way more, but as far as what they're going to use for their agenda, they'll say there was 3.
Yeah. So just to refresh your memory, we have the Monterey Park shooting, where 11 people were killed and 9 were injured. Now that number may have changed a little bit. I don't know. I don't follow, minute by minute. And then that was on Saturday evening. And then on Monday, we had what they're deeming the Half Moon Bay shooting, where at least 7 people were killed and 1 was critically wounded in shootings actually at 2 different locations, a mushroom farm and a truck facility. So what's your take on this? What have you heard about this?
I wasn't really even paying attention. I didn't hear about the Half Moon Bay one. Then the Oakland thing, that's not laughable, but it's interesting.
Oh yeah, I didn't mention that. Then we had the one in Oakland.
Yeah, because there's shootings pretty often out there. So
no, let me look here. I didn't mean to interrupt you. Now I'm looking at my article here, and they're so messed up. In 2 different spots in this article, it talks about people dying, right? And the one part of the article said 1 dead.
Yeah.
For Oakland. Now it says 7 people were injured and 1 person was killed.
Yeah.
So they're changing the numbers on us.
Yeah. Yeah. The only one I kind of saw the headlines and somewhat looked into was what was that? The SoCal one. What was that called again?
Monterey Park.
Yeah, there you go. And that one, it's more the same nonsense in terms of how they're trying to take it, instead of looking at possibly people being able to defend themselves against someone with bad intentions in a large group. They're basically saying, no, the public should be further disarmed, even though even with their own laws, they couldn't stop someone from having what they've considered an illegal firearm and equipment to do this heinous crime. But yeah, their idea is to further disarm the public, who ultimately ends up being the victims, and that we should just leave it in the hands of the people with security with guns.
Well, I mean,
surrounding them.
You've got this right here.
I mean, the Second Amendment's becoming a suicide pact, it feels like.
You're stupid.
The Second Amendment is a suicide pact now, according to Gavin Newsom.
And he should look around him then, because his security guards are clearly on a suicide pact.
Yeah, it was funny because when he said this, we saw this as a YouTube video that Eli found and sent to me. And as he's telling this to a reporter, he's got 3 guys walking behind him. One of them has his hand like in his pocket,
Yeah,
like
clearly some kind of AR assault weapon. He's hiding.
They're just surrounded by firearms.
But it makes perfect sense. When people are victims of gun violence and you want to go console them, you walk into their neighborhood with cameras and guns. Yeah. Just a that's a good way to greet people after they they lose someone. So yeah, if it's like showing up to someone's house drunk and driving there after they're victims of DUIs.
Yeah.
They need to do something about that drunk driving.
And this is what we need to be concerned about too, because I mean, not that I'm going to vote for the guy, but they're talking like Gavin Newsom could be the guy they want to run, the Democrat they want to run for president. Let's just let's keep an eye here.
It's all. Yeah.
Well, I'm just saying. You know what? Let's look at the shooters, though. I mean, so I just didn't realize this, but the shooters this time, most of the shooters are pretty young. Most of the time, these are older shooters.
Yeah.
Like the one in Monterey Park, he's after a 12-hour manhunt, they found him, and he killed himself when he was in his van, surrounded by police. He's 72 years old. And then the shooter at Half Moon Bay, 67 years old.
Wow.
I mean, I don't know if it means anything significant, but they were older shooters. They really were.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you get into that and just all the stuff that has gone on, and you get into, a lot of stuff that has gone on, that I look into with our country for a long time. A lot of the, we've mentioned MK Ultra and Mockingbird, anyways, or JFK, right? So I think you are dealing with an older population, a lot of baby boomers who were around during some of these things that, like, I'm just now kind of going, like, questioning, right?
Right.
A lot of them probably were around to know, like, just how long a lot of this stuff has been going on, and they're probably losing it too, because they're just maybe they are somewhat fed up, or maybe it is more on personal levels, don't know their overall intent of why they did it, but it is possible there is people now. I mean, you're talking about people who are probably losing their homes because property taxes going, all these things, right? And they're probably kind of just sick of it. And that's not to excuse anyone doing this.
Sure.
And like I said, I don't know their actual intent. But definitely, probably there is an older population that is going to just kind of just start going down this path of, like, they don't have any recourse. At least they don't feel.
Well, and it's very interesting because much as I don't know, you can look at some of these and you can say, MK Ultra type stuff. They were fed by the FBI. They were fed by the government to go out and do these things. I don't know if they were or not on this one. It doesn't, to me. Yeah, I guess you can't tell. Maybe they're just getting better at it, right? But you have we talked about it on the last podcast. You have President Biden coming out doing his Martin Luther King speech, his MLK speech, and immediately goes to firearms. I don't know why anyone needs a semi. I don't know why people need 30-round mags. I don't know why any of this has to happen. And then all of a sudden, this stuff happens. And now after this, a couple days after this, what happens? Dianne Feinstein goes ahead and pulls her dusty old bill out, and she's pretty dusty herself. Pulls that dusty old bill out, saying again, she wants to ban like 200 or 300 different semi-automatic weapons and all this stuff. She wants to change the people buying long rifles at age 18. She wants to change that to 21. All this stuff. She brings this up again, and it's very. They talk about it, stuff happens, and then they put a bill into play. That's how it happens, and you can say that it's just happenstance that it happens that way. And honestly, I think that if you're that's just coincidence. It happens way too much.
And
way too much. I mean, they give you the playbook. They tell you what's going to happen.
Yeah, and I mean, this just equates to, it's like the king sending down his kingsmen, right, with swords to take away the people's pitchforks. It doesn't make sense. This is all, as soon as the politicians with armed bodyguards, right, they got the CIA, Secret Service, ATF, all these, and IRS is armed as well.
Everyone.
They have
Postal
all this,
Service.
right? And then, like Biden said, you need a F-15 and all that to do anything. Then what are you trying to take away our pitchforks for, right? Like, if you have all this and you clearly need it, what's a Glock to someone who has a drone that could drop a bomb? So why are they so concerned? And they're making believe that it's like to protect us, which again, well, then if you need guns to protect you, then why can't we have guns to protect ourselves? And that's never mentioned, right? With these shootings, if someone was armed in there, could these shooters ever do what they do? No, instead, basically what they're doing is they're advertising to these people who are going to have that mindset to go out and do these things. They're advertising saying, hey, you go to any party in California, hey, probably not going to have any resistance because we disarmed all the people in the party.
Oh, yeah.
So it just doesn't make sense. That's not protecting the people at that point. You are literally advertising for people to come and do this, knowing that the people are unarmed, unable to defend themselves.
Yeah, and it's done over and over and over again. And let's look at the firearms used in Monterey Park. The gun that was used in the attack was a MAC-10 semi-automatic. They called it a semi-automatic assault weapon. Okay, so he had a MAC-10. It was semi-auto. I'm reading this article here. So they don't like that, but it wasn't this AR. It wasn't an AR-15, but they still. They're calling it an assault weapon, and they're adding semi-automatic assault weapon, right? Yeah. Semi-automatic. Why are they doing that? Oh, I don't know. The fact that the ATF just is starting to go after things. The fact that Dianne Feinstein has this big bill going after semi-auto. The fact that Canada just put together this great big bill that they passed one early on, and now another one which is banning all semi-autos, all kinds of stuff, right?
Yeah.
You know, Canada's in the crapper. I don't think they've ever been out of it, but
I think it's called Le Crappe.
Le Crappe. And then we got Half Moon Bay, 7 dead, gunman in custody. And it said the gun that he uses says authorities have said the gun was a semi-automatic weapon legally registered to the shooter. Let's see. The Monterey Park gun isn't California legal because it has prohibited features. Where is this at? Where does it say it had? We just read this a minute ago, right? It was a handgun. Yeah, so the gun used in the Half Moon Bay shooting was a registered semi-automatic handgun. And then it goes to talk about it kind of talks about that and being an assault pistol.
Yeah, that
assault pistols, and
it's
so
conflating. That's in their playbook. They conflate words. You notice they'll start a word, and you're like, why is this going around? So this is assault weapon, assault weapon, assault weapon. Now they're merging that with assault pistol.
And what
assault
is
pistol?
And what is the ATF got a thing going right now? They got a thing going on with AR pistols and arm braces and all kinds of stuff. And we could jump into that. And I'm not really a rifle guy. And I mean, I've read up and kind of kept up on that stuff. It's a little confusing to me, and I think they want it to be confusing.
Exactly. Yeah, that's the point of conflating words.
Yeah.
Just like they don't know what genders are.
Well,
anymore.
it gets to a point where you don't know what's legal and what's illegal.
Yeah.
So they want you to either be illegal so they can come press charges on you and arrest you and fine you, or you just at this point you just give up.
Yeah, I remember we had
you're
laws
scared.
for like knives and stuff like that, pointing things that go poke. And it was like knives or daggers. So something like that. Average person doesn't know what's the difference between a dagger and a knife?
Right, or a dirk.
Yeah, there you go. Dirk or dagger. Yeah, stuff like that. That's clearly not for the layman to really be able to grasp and understand, like, okay, everything I on me is either legal or illegal. No, that's purposely like, hey, dirk, when's the last time that was used? 1500s? All right, throw that in the law books.
Yeah, because I went to the store and bought myself a dirk today.
Yeah.
When's the last time you seen a dirk for sale?
Yeah, I walked in to D&B, asked if they had any dirk or daggers.
They do have swords there.
Oh, really?
See the handle? Look at that.
Oh, yeah.
Pull that thing out. Grab it.
Out machete. Oh, no, that's not even a machete. That's a sword.
That's a freaking sword.
Yeah. Wow.
Is that a dirk?
It's either a dirk or a dagger.
A dirk or a dagger.
You gotta get an expert.
So that's one to use. That's one to use on the live podcast. We'll show everyone my dirk.
Hey. It's kid friendly.
It's kid friendly. That's right. But the interesting thing about these shootings is you've heard quite a bit about them, but yet I think they're going to disappear. I think they're going to disappear quickly, and I think it's because it doesn't necessarily fit their narrative perfectly.
Yeah.
Right?
Did you hear about the shooting?
Yeah, it's insane. None of the conservatives will talk about it.
How can they claim to be pro-life and just ignore this stuff?
Exactly. People are dying. I don't understand how you could be silent about... the shooter wasn't white.
Huh?
The shooter? He wasn't white.
What shooter?
That's right. So I think this, and I'm not making light of the people that were killed in this, but I think this will go away.
Yeah.
And I think it'll go away kind of quickly.
It accomplished what they wanted. The politicians got their quick little tweet before knowing anything about it to say that it was white supremacy. Mr. Newsom gets to go do a walkthrough with his armed bodyguards.
Saying that there's a problem with the Second Amendment. And that's where we come down to they're elitists, man. Yeah. They are elitists. Yeah. They don't care. I've said this before. They don't care about us.
Yeah.
They care about themselves.
And they're in their own world. They literally call that he was saying saying, oh, he came to visit the community. Really?
Yeah.
Where is anyone he's visiting? He's walking down their street with armed bodyguards.
Visit their community. He governs that state. That is his state.
I'm sure he took a hot shower and everything after that.
Oh, probably. Well, yeah.
I can still smell them on me.
But it had to be a real quick shower because you got enough water left for the fishies.
No. They divert it into the ocean other than his home, basically.
Oh, okay.
Him and Pelosi's.
They get a good chunk of it right there.
Yeah, private lakes. You know.
It's just crazy to me when it's all about control. And they don't give a crap about guns. They give a crap about us having guns.
Yeah.
And why is that? Why do they not want us to have firearms?
And where did all the talk about assault hammers go? I mean, already onto assault pistols. We still got to figure out about banning those assault hammers.
Well, it's those underwear fights. They get not good.
I mean, if Newsom cares about his uncle, I mean, come on, don't go down and visit us poor folks. You know, when you still got to get rid of those hammers. Like, just think about your uncle. He could get assaulted again by an assault hammer. If it was a automatic or semi-automatic hammer, just imagine the damage that could have been done.
Well, the first rule is about Underwear Hammer Fight Club. is you don't talk about Underwear Hammer Fight Club.
And that's where he went wrong. He called the cops.
I know,
because the hammering broke a little too rough.
They were hammered too much. Yeah. You bring up your hammer, I'll show you my dirk.
He bought a dirk to a hammer fight.
You have a dirk? I brought my hammer.
Those are illegal in California. I gotta call the cops.
Oh,
let me get my underwear first.
Oh man, tell you what. This one's gonna get not that any of them are monetized, but it's just not gonna get unmonetized on.
This is a good one before we go live.
Right before we go live, we'll see if we can write out the the new live the live streaming for one episode.
Yeah.
Oh man, when we used to do the live stream, I used to swing around. Well, I played with knives and I had all kinds of stuff in here, and I'd like swing the knife. Maybe that's why they took it down. I'm not positive.
No fun. No
fun at all.
Yeah.
Oh man,
no fun for you.
So you still stuck on your? We're gonna do some small talk here because I was thinking about you. You still stuck on those Glocks, aren't you?
You know what? Yeah, so let's have some time to actually get back into.
You haven't shot for a little while.
Yeah.
Dry fire, my friend.
Yeah, I gotta find them first.
You need to not invest in a new gun.
Yeah, exactly.
You need to invest in one of their new Glock precision triggers. Ooh. Glock actually came out with their own aftermarket style trigger now.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. You
need to, I don't know how much they are. They brought them out at SHOT Show. You need to check them out.
Yeah, that's what with what I have. Yeah, it's now time to kind of fine tune them. And I would
love, you need to buy one of those because I want to get a feel for it because I've installed some of the Timney triggers. The Glock you can actually buy a Timney trigger for Glocks now.
I thought you were allergic to Glock.
I do have one too, actually.
Oh, okay.
But my parents have a couple, and some of the women in last year's women's shooting academies, they had some, and they bought the triggers for them, and then I installed them for them. But they have aftermarket. Timney has those aftermarket triggers, and it changes that gun.
Really?
Like, I don't mind a Glock. I don't mind the way it feels. It's ugly, right? Yeah. I don't mind the way it feels.
Yeah.
I don't mind the way it shoots. I just can't stand that stupid trigger.
What's the trigger pull press on this one? Is it?
I'd have to look. I don't know. Okay. I don't know, but it's a lot better. It's a lot more crisp. It's not as gritty. It's not as bad.
Okay.
And so I really like the Timney. I'd like to get my hands on one of the new Glock aftermarket triggers and try that.
Okay.
And see what that is like, just because they did such a stellar job with their first version that goes in the guns. So I'm a little apprehensive. Like, did they just change the color on this one? I mean, what did they do to make it different? Because Glock usually they don't change much.
Yeah, they don't. Yeah.
In fact, I had a heck of a time the other day. I was helping someone talk to someone about their Glocks, and they were going to order some aftermarket stuff, and I was kind of helping with it, trying to find the right models and this and that, and I was like, I had to like look up like. Because they don't all necessarily say like Gen 3, Gen whatever they on them. And I had to like look up the guns and like print off this picture, pull up this picture, and like see the differences to find out which freaking gen it was.
The gun lineup.
Oh my gosh, they all
Gen lineup.
They just all look the same.
Yeah.
So I'm still.
I think the only difference is that print of Gen 1.
Yeah. Well, there's like some finger grooves.
Oh, okay.
And then places where they have this, but I mean, it's so minute that you just don't. I just don't know. My dad was asking me, "What gen is yours?" I'm like, I don't freaking know. I have no idea. It looks like a Glock to me. So I haven't got my new HK, and I keep looking. And
What's it been? 2 weeks?
3 weeks. 2.5, 3 weeks.
Okay.
But I went ahead and just for all those that don't know, if you know me, you've picked up my carry gun and shot it, you've experienced it. But I have the largest grip known to man on that gun. And then because I broke my all the bones in the majority of the bones, not all of them, in my back of my right hand, and I'm a right-handed shooter, I had to actually put one of those aftermarket like Hogue rubber grips you slide onto it. Right. And it kind of helps me grip the gun because I just don't have grip strength.
What happened to the guy's face? What did it look like?
Yeah, actually, it was a boat.
Oh.
I was launching I was on search and rescue, and I was launching what they call like a rubber Zodiac boat. We were out actually doing, unfortunately, this was years ago. Unfortunately, we were out doing a body recovery. And the guy drowned and is out Salmon Dam. And so I was out there, and the wind always blows out there. And I had like two people in the boat, and I was launching it, so I was pushing it, kind of walking out in the water. And then once I got it out far enough, we could throw the engine down, the motor down, right, and fire it up and go. I was pushing it, and I was getting ready to jump into it. And the wind caught the nose, raised the nose up, and drove the boat backwards right into my back of my middle finger and broke the back of my hand. Ooh. Yeah. And anyhow, so my grip strength is crap. And I wanted to see if there was something. I've always needed a pretty aggressive stippling or something like that. And I don't necessarily want to stipple my gun, right? I don't want to mar up the gun. And so I know it's been around for a while, and I haven't had a whole lot of experience with it, but I ordered some Talon grip, and they make, and I'll let you guys know, it'll probably get here before the gun does. It'll be here, I think, tomorrow. But they make some really aggressive stuff. It's kind of like skateboard type tape, but I mean, it's made for each model of the gun, so it fits right. And they make like a real aggressive like sandpaper type version, and they make a rubber type version of it. And then they make what they call the Pro version, which is that sandy grit, but it's covered in a rubber coating. Okay. So you can actually carry your gun, can still carry it, and it's not going to rub a raw spot into your stomach, onto your skin, right? So I've got that coming. And I know Magnum is just beside himself. Why would you? Because the P30 is a good-looking gun. And he's like, why would you just ruin that? He's like, man, you just got to have the look. I'm like, well, I got to be able to shoot the damn thing too. If I can't grip it, I can't shoot it. So, but this tape goes on, and it's supposed to come back off if you don't like it. So it's like $24. If I don't like it, I'll just take it back off.
Yeah.
But the goal is for this gun to be my carry gun.
Okay.
And so I want to make it so I can shoot it well. Yeah. And so we'll try. I'll try to shoot it without it. And then I'll try it with this stuff on it. And if I have to, I'll go back to putting the great big aftermarket Hogue grip on there. And I may have to just for the size of it, just because my hands need a little something to bite onto, just because of the no grip thing. But I'm hoping this Talon grip, the rubbery, I'm hoping it will let me kind of, hold on to the gun. It kind of make my hand adhere to the gun a little bit better than normal. Because, I mean, I could pick up your gun and shoot it, and I can shoot it, but it just wants to jump out of my hand because my grip is just not, it's not there. Yeah. I went out the other day and bought a bunch of defensive rounds for it as well, because I encourage everyone that when you get a new carry gun, or a gun that you're going to carry, right? If you're going to to count on that thing to defend yourself with. You need to make sure your gun is going to run and function with your self-defense ammo. Self-defense ammo, good self-defense hollow points, a lot different than FMJ, right? Full metal jacket, round nose type stuff. That stuff, mostly that stuff will run okay, right? It's smooth. It moves just right. It chambers good. Where self-defense round, with it being a hollow point, has that opening. Sometimes it'll jam up. It'll hold up. It won't feed like it's supposed to. And so, if you're going to get a new gun, you need to buy your ammo, buy your defense ammo, and you probably need to buy 100 rounds, 150 rounds of it, which hurts because that stuff's not cheap.
Ching.
Yeah, but, you want to make sure your gun's going to function with it. So I went and bought let's see, what did I buy? 20, 40, they come in 20s, right? 20, 40. I got about 120 rounds, and I might go buy some more. But my defensive rounds, I know there's lots of defensive rounds out there, and the defensive rounds that I've had really good luck with are Spear gold dots.
Okay.
I've carried those for a long time, and I've run some tests with those, at least out of multiple carry guns that I've had in the past. And where back in the day when you could find phone books, which you can't find anymore, I would actually take a huge stack of phone books and I jam them down to like a 5-gallon bucket. I will tie them all together, hold them tight, jam them down there, then I fill the bucket full of water and let them soak up that water all night. And then I would dump the water out when I got to the range, and I'd have wet paper, right? And then I go fire the gun, make sure it's going to feed all the gold dots or all the self-defense rounds just right. But then on the self-defense round too, I also wanted to make sure it was going to do what? What's the point of a hollow point? Point of a self-defense round is to go into someone, create a large wound channel, open up, expend all the energy into the person, and what? Stay in the person, right? And so to do that, they need to flower, or they need to open up, that kind of stuff. That's what they need to do. So then I would shoot them. I would set the bucket up on edge so I could see the phone books, and I'd shoot rounds into those wet phone books. And then it was kind of fun. Then you get to dig through them and you get to see if your hollow points opened up like they were supposed to, if they expanded. Yeah. And they have, and I haven't. There's only one or two that didn't expand. That's because they actually hit the other rounds that were in there. But other than that, they've expanded beautifully, like so much to where they look like a flower. It was actually pretty cool. In fact, when my girls were younger, I made them little necklaces out of them. They were cool. Nice. And we painted them they were little girls at the time. Yeah. They enjoyed that, but I've never had a problem with gold dots. So I want to make sure, I'm sure that I won't have a problem with them in this B30, but you never know. So I bought a bunch, and I'll be running a bunch of tests. In fact, I don't know if I can find phone books anymore. I'd love to do some kind of I call it ballistic test, but just check the new stuff, right? Make sure it continues to open up. So if I can do that, I'll make a video of it or something. I'll post about it on Facebook. But it's
and where would you say the gold point rates as far as price point?
You can buy. I don't know. I just haven't really priced anything else out because that's what I like. I think it's probably right around what everything else is.
Okay.
I think like 20, 124 grain, 20 box of 20s. I think I was getting them for like 30, 31 bucks.
Okay.
So that's about what they are, right? That's about what everything else is, I think, or roundabouts. And you can go fancy. They've been around forever, and you can't. There's a lot of newer stuff, and I think you have to be careful because there's a lot of gimmicky crap out there too. You got the rip rounds. Remember when those came out? Those rip rounds that splintered out into a bunch of little. Yeah. That just. Go with a good standard, man. Go with a good standard. There's lots out there. Yeah. Find out what works for you. And I know I've posted a question on social media before. Tell me what you carry in your defense, and then it just starts arguments, right? Why this is better, why that. I'm like, man, this one functions out of my gun. I'm happy with it. I'm going to keep it. It's better than poking someone with a damn stick, right?
Or Dirk.
Yeah, or Dirk. But you know what I wouldn't mind, and not that they're any better, and I know they've relabeled them and they've renamed them. I heard. I'm not that much of a bullet nerd that I've looked into all this, but you know what I'd love to have?
What's that?
A box of Black Talons.
What's that one?
Oh, they were the ones that they were like outlawed for a while. They like had to like take them off because I think they actually advertised them as they're self-defense type rounds, I believe. And I think that at one point they advertised them like they would go through like bulletproof vests. And anyhow, they were like the company, they either outlawed, banned, or like the company pulled them. But I think they brought them back and like renamed them something else. But I would love to have an actual like box. I wouldn't even shoot the damn things. I just want a box of black talons. You know, someone's got some. They're floating around out there.
Oh yeah.
I've heard of people that had them, and I tried to get them. Like, I want to buy a box. I'll give you like $50 for a box. I just want it because it's almost like memorabilia.
Yeah.
You've never heard of black talons?
No.
Oh, come on.
But then
man.
again, I got into firearms late, so.
That's true. That's true. I see. And so black talons, man. Gotta look them up.
Yeah, well.
So have you been reading those USCCA magazines they gave you?
Oh no!
Remember that big old stack?
Yeah,
of
I know. I just
yeah. Don't feel bad. I never did either.
They're in my car right now. I actually was trying to clean out my car yesterday. Now that makes sense because I was like, who gave me these?
It was me. It was me. It was me.
I'll get them out the car sooner or later.
I've got a meeting in 2 weeks with USCCA.
Okay.
I'll talk about that meeting after I have the meeting. And I don't have any problem with, I have no problem with USCCA. I have no problem as far as like with the insurance that they offer, right? And it's not for everyone, but if you want carry insurance, by all means do it. I think it can do you a lot of good if you possibly need some kind of carry insurance. But there's a lot of carry insurances out there. Find out, read the fine print, find out what works for you, okay? And if you come to my classroom, you'll see I got lots of USCCA posters and stuff. It's because their posters are handy. They're cool, right?
Yeah.
And it is what it is. But they used to come out and do stuff in my permit classes and try to push their wares, and they haven't for a while. We're kind of at odds with each other right now, and I think they're going to come in a couple weeks, and we're gonna check out. They want to talk to me, so, and I will determine whether or not I'm going to keep going with USCCA. And if I decide not to, it's not necessarily because they offer a poor. They have a poor product, which I don't think that they do. I don't believe that they do. I think it's a great product. And by all means, if you got it, you got it. And I think that's a good thing to have just in case. If that makes you feel good, it's there if you need it. But business-wise, I don't know that me and USCCA can get along. So, but I'll let you guys all know that's coming. I just want to be a little transparent because, I pushed them for a while and had them in my classes. And I still stand behind, I think, their product, but I don't like how they're using my classes to get to my students. And I just don't think that's right. And it doesn't benefit me like it should. Does that make, do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I'll let everyone know the outcome of that meeting. But until then, that was the midweek podcast.
Midweek. Hump day.
Hump day. You said it better earlier.
Hump day.
Hump day. I like it. That's good. So that was the midweek podcast. If you guys liked it, thanks for listening. You can share it on social media. Check out the Patreon. I started the weekly Patreon only podcast. It's kind of short right now. Hopefully I'll get a little more content out there and we'll build a little bit better podcast just for the loyal Patreon members. And we'll be back this weekend with, hopefully, if everything goes well, a live podcast. So check out Facebook, check out YouTube, like, subscribe, do whatever you need to on those two social media platforms. And go ahead and watch us do this thing on live. I'll let you guys know a little closer. I'll put some posts on social media about what time I think we're going live. I'm waiting to hear back on some students and some classes that might possibly take place this weekend. And so I don't have an exact time. I'd hate to tell someone what time and then have us not be there. That would make a horrible impression. And I don't want to let anybody down. I've never done that in my life. So I thank you for all your support. And I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.